fans looking for action? Well, you'll get a big bang out of this.
Atlantic City plays host to World Championship Series. It's cold days and hot boats in Atlantic City. 60 race teams compete for international titles. Offshore racer loses big gamble in Atlantic City. Weather wreaks havoc on World Cup Series. Offshore mania conquers the Northeast. Master Corporation presents the featured race team series. We'll meet the men who race Little Caesars Pizza. Marine Machine takes us inside racing, and we'll be learning how Babe Productions is bringing offshore racing into the mainstream home video market. Midnight Express takes us behind the scenes, where we'll learn about the on-site mobile support units that keep these racers running. Laser Racing Engines takes us into the Mechanics Corner, and we'll learn how Gentry American Eagle engines have changed the face of offshore racing. Join us on a low-altitude, high-speed flight around the racecourse as we pursue these 100-mile-an-hour offshore missiles. All this and more in this edition of the Offshore Powerboat Race Report.
APBA, the American Powerboat Association. Its challenge, fun and excitement. Whether it's unlimited hydroplanes, offshore, outboard hydros and runabouts, inboard or drag, the APBA offers 9 categories of excitement. Racing, officiating, and just plain spectating are a few of the many benefits APBA membership affords you. Send your $30 and join the APBA today.
Classic Yacht Antifoulant is warranted against barnacle growth on fiberglass, metal, and wood hulls for 2 years. Tests over a 4-year period have proven Classic Yacht Antifoulant provides a minimum of 2 years protection against barnacles and microfouling in fresh or salt water. Our unique patented formula combines a slippery hydrophilic polymer with biocidal organometallic and hydrophobic polymers. The resulting super slick high gloss surface requires no buffing or polishing. Classic Yacht is the fastest antifoulant bottom coating, period.
Offshore powerboat racing is the world's most dangerous and exciting motorsport. Known throughout the world as a rich man's sport, offshore racing is one of the most expensive sports in the world. And it seems only fitting that the Trump name should be associated with the sport. This is the first time that Atlantic City has hosted the World Championship Series, and it is sponsored by the Trump Castle Casino Hotel. Today's race can only be described as the main event. All year long, race crews have been preparing for this race series. It's offshore's most prestigious event, and it brings out stars and VIPs from all over the world. The APBA UIM World Championship Offshore Racing Series is normally a 3-race event, but because of severe weather conditions, only 1 preliminary race was held. Earlier this week, race teams faced 7 to 10-foot seas in a race that some people called the Davy Jones Derby. At least 4 boats sank, and many others suffered severe damage. The heavy seas off the New Jersey coast have taken a heavy toll on both man and machine. Race crews have been working round the clock repairing the damage to their equipment. This race series is as much a test of endurance as a test of skill. Open class had an attrition rate of almost 80%. So far, over a dozen boats have been forced to drop out of the race. After Thursday's race was canceled due to bad weather, it became apparent that a different scoring system would be necessary. Officials wanted to ensure that everyone would still be in the competition for the World Cup titles.
Should weather conditions cause a cancellation of Sunday's race for APBA national classes and UIM 1 and 2, the world champion and the national champions will be awarded from Tuesday's results. Sunday's races will be double point races.
You gotta believe the racers are relieved that they finally get a chance to race again. After one preliminary race was canceled, the main event was postponed, and some of the racers were getting skeptical as to whether there would be any more racing at all.
And if we would stop nipping at one another and deal with the issue at hand, this is a bad situation here in Atlantic City because of the weather and the ocean conditions. It does us absolutely no good at all to sit back and say, I told you so. We are here, we came here to race, and we should be more concerned with getting off a race and assuring and ensuring that everybody that spent their money, time, and effort coming up here has a possibility or can, in fact, participate in the race and expect to come out ahead.
Davitt Master Corporation presents the featured race team series. We'll meet the men who race Little Caesars Pizza.
Yeah, it's the first year, and I think we got it very close to being dialed into where we want it. So, you know, last year we raced D Sportsman just to get our feet wet, and, you know, we thought that this is what we want to do. So, I think Pete has a real good chance of winning this race, and I want to win it myself.
This year we're the only boat that ran every race, and it'd be awful nice if we went to the awards and even place, and I could honestly get up there and ask everybody who is going to race a Superboat next year, because if we're going to run one boat or two boats or three boats and Superboat every race next year, it's not worth going after that kind. I would rather downsize and go into open if I know that there's going to be even 10 boats.
I'm curious to see what Fabio, Buzzy, and all these guys are going to do as well. You know, you go look at the program, it shows Fabio, Buzzy, Al Copeland, Spirit of America, and all them guys. And, you know, we campaigned the entire circuit all year. We raced the entire circuit. They didn't say nothing about us at all. We've been at every race this year, and we really haven't gotten any type of recognition at all.
This is going to be nice. There'll be 12 boats, but you need 12 boats at every national race, including the last race of the year, even though you may not have to be there. You know, people, you know, all the people that know the Little Caesars boat expected it to be there in St. Pete, so I didn't have to go there, because even if I would have taken first place, I still would have been second nationally. But I don't want to let down the people that have watched us and maybe didn't know Pete Markey didn't have to race that race, but he's going to show up anyways, just so that, and we went all out. We didn't go out there and play around. We went out there and broke it again.
You know what I think everybody really wants to know about this? What is it that you do with your arm?
Oh, it's just like, you know, you're going to bend over and paddle to help get the boat going a little faster, you know? It's just kind of a joke. We used to do that on our old poker runs when one boat couldn't pass the other, somebody'd lean over and try to help paddle the boat to get it to go faster, you know?
We'll be right back with the start of today's race after these messages.
Not all transom brackets are created equal. In fact, it can take 5 of theirs to equal 1 of ours. That's why B-Bracket is the world's best-selling multi-engine transom bracket. Our multi-engine B-Brackets are engineered for double, triple, 4-engine, even 5-engine applications. These days, everyone knows the installation of a transom bracket will improve both the looks and performance of your boat. The installation of a B-Bracket will prove you know better. B-Brackets, designed for those who know better.
There's a certain group of hard-working, hard-playing adventurers who take their recreation very seriously. They seek all the thrills and excitement life has to offer. The evidence of their enthusiasm for adventure is all around us in the form of the recreational vehicles they use in pursuit of a good time. Speedboats, glider planes, motorcycles, and jet skis. At last, the underwater adventure seeker comes into his own with the advent of Sports Sub. If you're one of the new breed and you're ready for the ultimate in underwater action, plunge into adventure in a sports sub. It's the personal submersible for the new frontier.
Welcome back to Offshore Racing's ultimate event from Atlantic City. This is the final race in the World Championship Series, and once again the race will be run on a storm course. Superboat and open class boats will run 4 laps for a 101-mile race. UIM2 and Pro Stock class boats will run 3 laps for a 75-mile race, and Stock class will run 2 laps on a 50-mile race course.
The 1989 Trump Castle Offshore World Cup is brought to you on video by Babe Productions. We'll be covering the race today from the land with our land cam at the start-finish line. Our boat cam near checkpoint 2 will be covering the race from the water, and our helicopter point of view camera will be sweeping the race course, covering the race from the air. We are currently hovering over the milling area, waiting for the start of the race. 53 boats from a dozen countries have assembled here to compete in this final race. This series will decide the world champions in 5 separate classes. There's the starting smoke. The boats will now follow the pace boat out into the starting chute and get lined up on plane. The actual start occurs when the pace boat displays the green flag. Our land cam at the start and finish line is in position to pick up the start of the superboats.
We're rooting for Charlie, right? Yeah.
There are 8 superboats competing today. We see Popeye's Chase on the outside, Mr. Roberts, Team USA, RDS, and Lucky Strike. Jesse James is hanging back as Gentry Turbo Eagle pushes for an early lead. Little Caesars Pizza is picking up speed. Our helicopter point of view camera gives us an aerial view as Charles Marks in Gentry Turbo Eagle stretches his lead over the rest of the pack. The severe weather conditions in Atlantic City caused one race to be canceled and today's race to be postponed. The wind has died down a lot since yesterday and the seas are running 4 to 6 feet. The race fans at the start-finish line get a close-up look at the largest starting field of the day. Just moments behind the superboats, 21 open-class boats head toward their start. 4 boats in this class were destroyed in Tuesday's race and had to pull out of the series. Gancia de Gancia, SDA, and Power Marine get into a drag race for the lead. Bengal Bay Club, Baguda, Special Edition, Kappa, Martini Bianco join the all-out war for position. There are 8 UIM2 boats racing today for the World Cup title. Diesel Dancer and Ebel lead as the boats approach the start. They're followed by Rebellious and Team Skater. Frigidaire de Alda comes from behind to take the lead. Pro Stock and Stock Class boats are starting together. There are 11 Pro Stock and 5 Stock Class boats competing in today's race. These outboard boats are considerably smaller than the other classes, but they are more evenly matched. Pro Stock and Stock Class boats run very similar hulls and power packages. These 2 classes test driving skills more than any other of the racing classes. Despite their size, many Pro Stock boats run consistently over 100 miles an hour in the right water conditions. The first hot contest of the day is in Superboat class. Stephen Baldwin in RDS won the preliminary race earlier this week. He's the current points leader in Superboat class. Right now, RDS is being challenged by another big V-bottom Apache. A Little Caesars Pizza race team is trying to edge out RDS for second place. Little Caesars Pizza has been pouring it on steadily after getting off to a slow start. At checkpoint 1, they were in 6th place. Now as they are approaching checkpoint 2, they have moved up to 2nd place in Superboat class. RDS is running about 90 miles an hour right now as he battles for 2nd place with Little Caesars Pizza. Throttle man Keith Hazel is demonstrating the hard-charging style that put this team in 1st place in Tuesday's race. Gentry Turbo Eagle was campaigned under the name of Eric's Reality all year long. For this race, owner Charles Marks agreed to run under the Turbo Eagle name in exchange for factory sponsorship. Along with brand new Turbo Eagle engines, Marks got Gentry throttle man John Connors in the deal. The 4 to 6 foot seas are perfect for this big cat, and they're taking full advantage of it. Right now they're leading in Superboat class and overall. In UIM 1 open class, we find Castella Gancia. This race team from Bologna, Italy, finished 4th in the preliminary race. There are over a dozen Italian race teams competing in the international event. Many of the Italian boats suffered heavy damage on Tuesday's race. The visibility is better today, and the seas are a little calmer, but already we're seeing attrition. Bringing up the rear in Superboat class is Lucky Strike. Don't count them out yet. This race team has an amazing fortitude and seldom fails to finish a race. This boat has proven staying power and is the only superboat to beat Eric's Reality last year. Further up the race course, number 35 Power Marine is in 5th place in open class and trying to improve their position. This is another Italian entry. Power Marine sports the wing design that has become the signature of many of the European boats. Special Edition is an American entry. They are currently in 3rd place behind Gancia de Gancia and Kappa. Special Edition is the 1989 U.S. National Champion in open class. The father and son team of John and J.D. D'Elia have pushed this Jaguar catamaran to victory all year long. As Special Edition heads toward the start-finish line, Power Marine unsuccessfully tries to catch up. Special Edition is powered by twin 750 horsepower Mercruiser engines, and Power Marine is powered by triple 750 horsepower diesel engines. It's catamaran versus deep B and gas versus diesel as they head toward the end of the first lap. Our land cam at the start-finish line shows us the race leaders as they head back out for another lap. In Superboat, Gentry Turbo Eagle leads the race, averaging 88 miles per hour. Little Caesars Pizza is only seconds behind in 2nd place. Don Johnson in Team USA is in 3rd place in Superboat class. This 50-foot catamaran averaged just under 82 miles an hour on the last lap. RDS is hanging in there in 4th place with a lap average of 79.5 miles per hour. UIM 1 open class boat Gancia de Gancia is running without its wing today. They frequently run faster than some of the superboats, and today they're averaging around 84 miles an hour. In 2nd place in open class is Kappa with its average speed of 82 miles an hour. Back up in our helicopter point of view camp, we see Special Edition still leading Marine Power as they race past the famous Trump Princess. Back at the start-finish line, we see the third-place open class boat. SDA is from Milano, Italy, and averaged 79 miles an hour on that last lap. Right behind in fourth place is Special Edition. Back up in our helicopter point of view camera, we see second place UIM-1 open class boat, Kappa, still trying to catch Gancia de Gancia, who has led the field from the start. Both Kappa and Gancia de Gancia were disqualified in the preliminary race for missing a check boat. Kappa's going full out as they try to make up for it today. This 36-foot catamaran is a Fabio Buzzi design, powered by twin 800 horsepower C-Tech diesel engines. Kappa is from Como, Italy. Hawk Marine Power just moved up into third place in open class. This boat is the American entry that took second place in the preliminary race. They're running about 80 miles per hour as the seas pick up here on the backside of the race course. Hawk Marine Power is a 35-foot Jaguar hull powered by 700 horsepower Hawk racing engines. Mandy Fernandez is the throttle man and John Tomlinson drives the boat. If you have any good photos, race stories, or videos, send them to Babe. She wants to put them in our show. Call 386-1154 in Miami. That's fun. 1154 in Miami. She wants to hear from you, so give us a call. You can be a Babe reporter. Back at the start-finish line, we see the leaders in UIM2 class. The North American Continental Champion, Team Skater, leads the pack. He's held the lead all the way around the course with a 74-mile-an-hour average lap speed. Ebell is in second place in UIM2 class. Diesel Dancer is in third place in UIM2, followed by Down Undies. Richard de Alda is currently running in fifth place. Bringing up the rear in UIM2 is Brickyard. Risky Business blows by as they continue to lead in Pro Stock. Down Undies is in fourth place in UIM2 class. This race team came all the way from Australia to compete in today's World Cup Series. We see the second place leader in Superboat class, Little Caesars Pizza. The boat has followed in Charles Mark's wake all year long. This looks like deja vu. Driver Pete Markey and throttle man Trace Martin are running over 85 miles an hour in these 6-foot seas, trying to catch up with Gentry Turbo Eagle. We can see from out on our boat cam that the wind is kicking up some waves on the backside of the course. The Coast Guard has done a great job keeping the spectator boats in line. With the seas picking up, some of the spectators' boats are starting to drift into the race course. We have a report that M32 Team Skater has suffered a serious accident and is out of the race. Diesel Dancer moves up to second place in UIM2 class. In UIM1 open class, Loro Piana is running dead last. This race team is from Como, Italy. The boat finished third in the preliminary race earlier this week. Its sister ship, Loro Piana Turnberry Isles, was destroyed in that race. Loro Piana is a 44-foot Lucchini catamaran powered by twin 880 horsepower Lamborghini engines and Arneson drives. Alessandro Zotto is the driver and Jerry Galbraith is the throttle man. Even though Loro Piana is running in last place in open class, they're still averaging over 72 miles an hour around the course. Mr. Roberts never made the start in the preliminary race this week, but today driver A.J. Roberts and throttle man Nick Antonelli are turning in an impressive performance. This is a brand new boat, and they've moved up from 8th place to 5th place. Attrition has claimed almost half of the field in Superboat class. Jesse James and Popeyes Chesa failed to complete even one lap. Team USA quit after one lap, and Lucky Strike ran out of luck on this last lap. Mr. Roberts is a 50-foot Boss powerboat powered by triple 840 horsepower Roger Munn engines and Mercury outdrives. For a recap of the race leaders, we have Gentry, Turbo Eagle, and Superboat. UIM1 Open class leader is Gancia de Gancia. Ebel leads UIM2 class. Pro Stock leader is Risky Business, and Vigilante leads in Stock class.
We'll be back with the exciting conclusion of the race after our feature stories. Inside Racing is brought to you by Marine Machine, where the quality never stops. S.L. Crawford tells us how Babe Productions is working to get offshore racing into the mainstream home video market.
In general terms, you may see something in a program, and 2 programs later it's evolved, because we're not afraid of making changes or trying something new. That I think was the most fun thing about this show, was developing a brand new show in a brand new format that had never been seen before. It's totally different. It's not a copy of anybody else's show that's already been out there or been done before, and that's what I really like about this show. It's completely ours, and we intend to keep up with the newspaper magazine style format next year, and probably include a couple more features that we think people are going to be excited about and like. One of the reasons we've been able to do this year is because we changed our equipment from the 3/4 inch video gear that we'd been using to the Panasonic new SVHS tape. And these little camcorders are very small and compact. They only weigh about 7 pounds. And now we can have 4 to 6 cameramen on a shoot running all over the place with this little compact gear that actually carry on luggage. It's amazing. Things that would take 13 cases of gear to do 2 years ago, we can do with carry-on luggage. The compact gear has really made it easy for us to shoot a lot of features and go a lot of places we couldn't have gone otherwise. In addition to shooting out of the helicopters, which of course we're doing and everybody else is doing, we're shooting off of score boats. We're shooting off of race boats. We're hanging out everywhere and really getting some interesting and amazing footage. You know, every place you go, you see the little striped shirts, and there's the Babe reporters, and they're out there bringing it all in, and I think people like that. I know I do. There are a lot of people that you see out working in the field, our cameramen, our field producers, and people like that. But then we have the people that work behind the scenes, too. We have people like Chris Peak that comes in and does our narrations for us, and Bert Cheney that does the sports casting. We have engineers that keep our gear rolling in that. Very important people that we work with. Also behind the scenes, and probably a couple of the most important people we work with, are Max and Rocky, who dub and wrap and ship these tapes. As soon as the program's done, we run it right down there, and they crank out hundreds of copies in record time so that everybody can get their race tapes on time and that we can get them out to our dealers as well. We try to think about the person that's going into a video store looking for something different in the way of sports. They go in and they see all of the stuff they've already seen, and when they look up on the shelf, there she is. Hey, wouldn't you buy a video from this girl?
Midnight Express takes us behind the scenes. Frank Hampel explains how on-site mobile support units help offshore race teams.
We do just about anything. We can do glass work, metal work, welding, change engines, rebuild mounts, rebuild boats. We've been doing it. We've been at the World Championships for 5 or 6 years. And sometimes if the weather gets rough, they break boats apart and break drives apart, and we can repair any part of just about any boat. I build boats. I have laid up boats. I've been in the fiberglass business for years, so I know the glass end of it, and I know the construction. Of course, a lot of the glass construction now is very high-tech, vacuum bag core type stuff, and I'm not into that. But as far as repairs, what we can do is get people back racing. Sometimes it's not fancy, sometimes it's not as pretty as they'd like to be, but we can get them back out there running. So, you know, they can go home to the shop and make it pretty, but we can make them go.
Catch the spray. Call today. Want to get involved? Participant, sponsor, spectator, or fan. Call today while you can. Buy a rig off the shelf or custom build one to your specifications. Offshore racing, inboard, outboard, diesel. It's yours for the asking. Catch the spray. Call today.
For dynamic racing action, don't miss our entire series. The Offshore Powerboat Race Report is available by mail order at each race site and at many popular high-performance dealers. Tapes for the current race are available for shipping within 10 days. Just call 305-386-1154 for information about the dealer nearest you. You can keep up with the racing action all year long because the next checkered flag is just one tape away. Laser Racing Engine takes us into the Mechanics Corner with Fred Miller, and he'll explain how Gentry racing engines are changing the face of offshore.
Well, we came up with the new water-cooled turbocharged system, which is, everybody tried to turbocharge offshore boats before it, and then it has no success at it. And we developed this engine about 5 years ago, and we had real good success at it. We built a whole new turbocharged system. We designed, and Tom Gentry designed and built the thing.
We're taking care of it for Charlie Marks just to ensure that we have the very best equipment that we can, that's available in it, and we're taking care of it ourselves. Kind of a joint effort, and Charlie's good enough to go along with it and let it help us, let us use these boats. And we'd like to win this World Championship again for Tom Gentry with his engines. It'll be 3 years in a row that his equipment has won. That's the main object now since our boat is out of it. Why, this is a... It still makes him feel good to see his equipment right in the middle of things. No, I think they're just going to go out and try to win it, just win it. And our normal strategy is to get out front and just go fast enough to stay ahead. They don't go out and try to blow the whole world away, but just as no harder than they have to, and then make things live. Been real successful with it so far.
Welcome back to the exciting conclusion of the final race of the 1989 APBA UIM World Championship Offshore Racing Series.
Gentry Turbo Eagle heads out on its final lap, pursued by Superboat challenger Little Caesars Pizza. These two superboats have been battling it out all year long on the U.S. National Circuit. Gentry Turbo Eagle driver Charles Marks took the 1989 U.S. National title in Superboat class. Peter Markey and Little Caesars Pizza took second place. In Pro Stock class, High Risk has maintained its third place position behind Risky Business and Miss Don Q. Rom since the first lap. High Risk has averaged over 64 miles an hour through today's race. Miss Don Q. Rum has just moved ahead of Risky Business and into first place in Pro Stock class. This boat is the 1989 U.S. National Champion in Pro Stock class. Miss Don Q. Rum finished in second place in the preliminary race earlier this week, and a win today will give Felix Morales the World Cup title. Miss Don Q. Rum is from Mercedita, Puerto Rico, and has averaged about 67 miles an hour through these choppy seas. Our boat cam on the backside of the course shows how choppy the waters are getting. Samurai slows down to make the turn at checkpoint 2. Team Hydra from Pro Stock class is really launching off of these waves as they bring up the rear in Pro Stock. In UIM 1 Open class, Achille Motors has been averaging over 80 miles an hour all day. They are currently running in third place behind Gancia de Gancia and Kappa. The European boats are really giving the Americans a run for their money. Mr. Roberts is running in fourth place in Superboat class. Driver A.J. Roberts won the World Championship title in Open class in 1985. Roberts has done very little racing stateside since that time because he prefers to race in Europe. In UIM 1 Open class, we have a drag race heating up. Bengal Bay Club is a 41-foot Cougar catamaran from Helsinki, Japan. It's being challenged by an Italian entry, Annabella. Annabella has averaged about 65 miles an hour through the race course today and has moved up 5 places since the start of the race. Racers have come from all over the world to compete here this week. The heavier water conditions see on-cue rum and high risk. This boat has had a remarkable race, moving all the way up to 3rd from its 8th place start. Team Hydra is bringing up the rear in Pro Stock class. This class has had an attrition rate of over 30% today. For teams like this one, just finishing the race counts for a lot. Team Hydra has averaged over 59 miles an hour around the course. The race fans at the start-finish line are in perfect position to see the outcome of the race. Little Caesars Pizza swept by crippled Gentry Turbo Eagle to take 1st place in Superboat class. RDS takes 2nd place in Superboat class. Ebel takes 1st place in UIM 2 class. Gentry Turbo Eagle is obviously way down on their power as they limp home. It's a sad defeat for Charles Marks. Gentry Turbo Eagle led the entire race until it lost 2 engines on the last half of the last lap. Gancia takes 1st place in UIM 1 Open class. Diesel Dancer takes 2nd place in UIM 2 class. Achille Motors takes 2nd place in UIM 1 Open class, followed closely by Power Marine in 3rd place. Frigidaire de Alda takes 3rd place in UIM 2 class.
This is a spectacular race. Now let's take a look at the finals while the winners head back to the docks.
Superboat winners are Little Caesars Pizza, RDS, and Gentry Turbo Eagle. UIM 1 Open class winners are Gancia de Gancia, Achille Motors, and Power Marine. UIM 2 winners are Ebel, Diesel Dancer, and Frigidaire de Alda. Pro Stock winners are Miss Don Q Rum, High Risk, and Euro Marine Special. Stock class winners are Skater Express, Vigilante, and Insanity.
As in every race, there are winners and there are losers. Just as each man has his own reasons for racing, each has his own thoughts about it afterwards.
Tell them about your
I'd
elbow.
like to say I was waiting for the Italians to come blow us away. That didn't happen either.
Yeah, we were waiting for Gancia to come past us because in the only race I've seen, they caught up with all the American superboats and passed everybody last year. And I didn't see him. I see him here at the dock. I'm sure they ran a good race, but I'd like to go out. I'd like to go out and run against that boat someday. You know, maybe in Monaco we will. I don't know.
Dr. Matt and his crew were fabulous. They couldn't have been better. Our guy Rambo is terrific. Everybody did a great job. And here we are 3 days later. It's the proof of the pudding.
How long do you figure you're going to be laid up?
We're supposed to be in these designer garments for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, how do you think this is going to be influence next season at all for you, or what?
Well, I didn't have any intention of running a full season next year. My plan was to retire after the World Championships and just race special events. It's now obvious to me that God had a hand in this. He wants me to retire.
Abbiamo fatto dei voli filati, il mare, sopra, le onde.
Did you
Molto
understand
bello.
that? They had
È
some
stato
good
molto
flights.
bello.
The sea was so choppy that they had some very good flights.
Visto che si sono affondate 2 barche.
And two boats sunk, you know. I'm sure you know that, yes. And they didn't sink, so
E una
that is a
esplosa.
major
E
accomplishment.
una esplosa.
And one exploded, so it was today was one of the more difficult races, yes.
I think the cold helps the engines, it gives them better breathe, it's cooler water. For the people, it's worse. I think you got to wear a dive suit in there, you know, stay cold and stay hot, you know.
On a sad note, the post-race awards banquet was prefaced with the news of the tragic death of an American racer. We'd like to express our sympathy to the family and friends of Kevin Brown.
Team skater, UIM Class 2 boat, M32, proceeding southwest bound, approximately 2½ miles beyond the starting line, launched, hooked, barrel rolled, and landed upright. Mr. Kevin Brown of Rocky River, Ohio, suffered massive head and neck injuries, instantaneously losing his life in the ocean off Atlantic City today. A paramedic boat witnessed this accident and responded within 45 seconds to the scene. Life support was offered without effect.
And at first, number 69, Little Caesars Pizza. And first place, number 1, Gancia de Gancia. First place, UIM Class 2, M50 Ebel. First place, P88, Miss Don Q. Rum. And first place, S99 Skater Express.
Well, we'd like to thank the APBA and the Atlantic City Offshore Powerboat Racing Association for helping us bring you the APBA UIM World Championship Series on video. We hope you've enjoyed the race and that you'll continue to follow the offshore action throughout the year. We'd like to remind our viewers that Babe Productions is the only video company officially sanctioned by the APBA. We'll be bringing the excitement of every race on the 1989 APBA OPT circuit right into your home with 11 editions of the Offshore Powerboat Race Report. You can keep up with the racing action all year long because the next checkered flag is just a tape away.